Hey guys, it's Nick, and this is the Long Island Wargaming 2013 Summer Mordheim campaign introduction video for our City Limits campaign. In this video, I'm just going to go through a bunch of things that are relevant to the campaign, and of course, this will be a great place for you to leave any comments below, any ideas, any requests, just any feedback about the campaign and any of the questions you may have also. So this is going to be a 7-game campaign with 5 players. So let's jump on into it, and I'd also, like I said, love to hear what you guys have to say. The whole campaign is going to be in one playlist, and this is actually going to be the first video in the playlist, so feel free to reference to the playlist periodically as there will be extra little things in there just besides the games. Also, if you're looking for the creation of the city or the models or any of the work I've done to create or to prep the city, go to the workbench playlist. That's where there will be a bunch of different little fun videos on how I put some of these pieces of terrain together, or what models I've worked on, or how I've done my warband. So definitely check that out also. Alright, so the first thing I want to go over is the source material. There is tons of material out there. I know I already got some questions about what rule set we're going to be using. For Long Island Wargaming, for the most part, we just use a compilation of everything and some of our own house rules. So I'll get into the house rules, but right off the bat, if you just Google Mordheim rules, there's tons of things out there. For the most part, we're going to be using the first hit that comes up on Google, and that is this PDF that's listed right on top, the Mordheim/Mordheim rulebook. It's a great PDF that has a bunch of different rules compiled together from a bunch of different rule sets, but I also think it uses the FAQs that GW put out, so there are some corrected material in there. It also cuts out a bunch of the pictures and the fluff if you're just looking for the rules, which at this point this is what I am. The old Mordheim rulebook has like this pirate guy like every other page trying to give you hints and suggestions, and it just takes up space and is annoying. So that's the PDF I'm going to be using. Of course, if you want to go right to the roots, go to the GW specialists area. There's a bunch of different PDFs up there. Of course, you're going to have to use the FAQ to correct some of the initial PDFs. There's 3 up there. So that's a good way to just get down to the root of the game. Also, Mordheimer.com is where we'll get some of our material. And so really those 3 places are where we're going to use most of our rule sets. We do have some stuff that's hard to find too that you can't really find on the internet from the Town Crier magazine. Some of that stuff is now public, some of it isn't. I believe Town Crier was a separate magazine that came out from Mordheim, or maybe it was with White Dwarf. I don't know what it was at the time when the game came out, which I think was either the late 80s or the early 90s. But yep, for the most part, hit up Google, type in Mordheim rules, and that first PDF is probably what we'll be using, and that is also the PDF I will be doing a rules review in the next video. So keep your eyes out for that also. So I want to share the 2 big house rules that we'll be using that isn't in any of the PDFs, and this is just stuff that over time we've decided to change. Now these are just the 2 that are going to be during the campaign to start. There's going to be things that we go ahead and add, or maybe we'll have a separate video on our house rules. Some of it fixes the game, some of it makes it a little bit more fun, some makes it a little bit just better, but that's just our opinion. You don't have to agree with us. If you don't like any of our house rules, we'll leave them out. But the first thing that we like to do is we change the strength modifier to strength 5 to start depleting armor. So strength 5 is -1 armor save, strength 6 is -2, and so forth. The reason why we do this is because armor is really downplayed in both the beginning and end of this campaign. In the middle, it's kind of up in the air, but usually in our games, we end up leaving out armor because some warbands start off with strength 4, or the -1 to light armor or shield. It's too effective off the bat, and even towards the end of any campaign series, and it devaluizes, say, critical hits where you get no armor save. So what we did is we got rid of strength 4. So right off the bat, strength 4 warbands or weapons, for example, like a crossbow, no longer deplete armor right off the bat. Now, of course, a handgun will, because it's black powder and has the -1, so it'll do -1 armor. But this is great because now your light armor and your shields are a little bit more worth it, because almost always you'd be getting no armor saves, or they just really weren't worth it. And if you wanted a good armor save, you'd be getting heavy armor and a shield, but then your movement would be depleted. This also makes daggers a little bit less forgiving because the dagger gives your opponent an armor save. So if your opponent has light armor ready and you're using a dagger, now they've got a 5+ armor save, so it makes daggers a little bit worse. But this is just something that we've decided to do because it would just always be a waste of gold purchasing armor when if you're playing a warband that already starts off with strength 4, why would you ever get light armor? So it just changes the game around a little bit, and this is something that we like. So, and it allows people to use more armor, which is cool. The next big thing is striking at the same time in matching initiative in subsequent rounds of combat. Now this is pretty 8th edition-ish for like Warhammer, but this was more of a 5th, 6th edition game by GW. So essentially, your heroes, if they're matching initiative, you'd roll off to see who strikes first, which we feel kind of sucks because you could both have two really, really good heroes with the same capability of killing the other one, and just to see who does better by rolling off on a 50-50 chance kind of sucks. Well, we give each other an opportunity to both kill each other's characters, kind of like we would in Warhammer. So uh, in old 6th or 7th edition or 5th edition, this wasn't a big deal because you'd have a whole unit of guys and hopefully a bunch were able to still attack back, where right now, if you have a really good hero and he gets attacked and a hero with matching initiative, you guys have to roll off, and a 4+, you get to go first. I don't know, it just kind of sucks. So there'll be an opportunity for us to both kill each other or knock each other down or stun each other. So that's just something that we extend to each other to eliminate that randomness where we have two good heroes. So let's see what happens. Alright, so here's the big question. How do we win this 7-game campaign? And the victory conditions are going to be the campaign with the most Weirdstone is the winner. Now, anyone that does not play Mordheim or know anything about it, Weirdstone are the tokens that you get during the game and after the game when your characters explore. So the warband with the most wins. Now, the Weirdstone is also the form of economy where you can sell them to gain gold, so you could purchase new warband members and new equipment, and/or hire mercenaries. So, in previous campaigns, or maybe campaigns that you guys have played, you realize you don't have a defined end of the campaign. So when people get Weirdstone, they don't save it. They sell it. They sell it. They sell it. They get lots of gold. They ramp up their warbands, and everything gets kind of powerhouse real quick. Or this, now we have to figure out, hey, do I sell all 3 so I can get lots of money and kill my opponents next turn? Or do I save 2 and only sell 1? Maybe only buy 1 guy and a piece of equipment, but at least I'll get a little bit closer to winning the campaign. So that's an interesting element that is not technically unique because that's how Mordheim campaigns should start and end. When it comes time to sell the Weirdstone, we will write down privately how many we're going to sell. This way, nobody knows, and nobody's playing the Jeopardy game. For anyone who knows Jeopardy, at the end of the game, depending on how much money you have, you can bet that money against yourself. So say you've got $3,000 and you want to bet $2,099. If you lose, then you're down to $1. If you win, then you're up to $5,999, and you're hoping to have the most money out of your 2 opponents, or in this case, your 4 opponents. So there is no elements of, playing back and forth and trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to sell 2 if he's going to sell 3. Nope, we're going to write it down. It's going to be secret, and then at the end, we will show it. And then if at any point a warband has a tie in Weirdstone by the end of the campaign, it'll just be a fight to the death. But hopefully it doesn't happen because we have a scenario or 2 that will kind of prevent that from happening. At the end of the campaign, we will have some bonus Weirdstone, or as Chris likes to say, they're your bonus stars from Mario Party. So if you have the warband with the highest rating, you will get an extra Weirdstone. If you're the warband with the most experienced leader, you will get a extra Weirdstone. Warband with the most experienced henchman, you will get a extra Weirdstone. And this one's going to be interesting because for the most part, henchmen between all the warbands advance the most evenly. So there's not really a lot of opportunities for them to gain experience. So a lot of warbands might tie this one. However, there are periodically certain ways that warbands can gain an extra piece of experience through a scenario. So those will become a little bit more valuable and henchmen, which are a little bit weaker than heroes, will maybe try to obtain objectives, which will be funny because usually they can't do that as successfully as a hero. Warband with the most scenario victories will get an extra Weirdstone, and this will probably go hand in hand with the second one with the most experience leader, because if you win a scenario, your leader gets extra experience, so whoever wins those two will probably win them together. And then the favorite general, which will actually be voted on by you guys. So watch out for any, tactics or role play or, funny little bits that we do to make the campaign more enjoyable, and vote on us based on, also our models and how nicely our warbands are painted up, or if we do stupid things or do smart things. So that'll be something that towards the end of the campaign we'll have a separate video for voting on, and maybe some recaps of some funny moments of each warband and general, so you guys will have an opportunity at playing an impact in this campaign, along with a couple other things as we get closer to those scenarios we will allow you guys to vote on. So the warbands that you will be seeing Undead, you'll be seeing Demob Rules, which is the Orcs and Goblins, Clan Eshin, Clan Pestilence, so two Skaven warbands, and all the way over from Lustria, we've got some Lizardmen. So this is the rough outline of the scenarios we will be playing. It is subject to change, so I'll go through them. They will also be slightly modified to our liking, so feel free to try out the way that we do the scenarios. The first one is going to be a Weirdstone fight, which is, I guess, kind of like a Weirdstone hunt, but it's going to be in the center, which forces us to all make a mad dash for it, because right now Weirdstone is so valuable, where sometimes we just kind of, dick around and not make a run towards the center, or where the Weirdstone is, and we don't fight each other because we're really upset that if our heroes die. So sometimes we'll feed each other our henchmen, and stupid things that make less sense in an actual situation. So this will add a little bit more of a real element to the fighting warbands. The second one is the weirding well, where there will be a well in the center of the board where you can actually search the well for weirdstone, and it takes some time. You might get killed doing it. It's an interesting little scenario that we will modify also, and you will see how. Number three is Happy Harpy Hunting. There'll be a large building in the center of the scenario where there's harpies hiding at the top with a valuable treasure that usually has a lot of good goodies inside. And the harpies are on top, and you have to get to the top of the building, kill them, steal the treasure. But the fun part is in the scenario that the harpies will sometimes leave the building, fly down, and try to attack a hero, or maybe pick them up and throw them across the map. So that's usually pretty fun. Number four is the Maiden, which is actually a homemade scenario, which we'll actually share the PDF with you guys. So this is a LIWG exclusive, and this is a fun scenario that you'll get to see. And the fifth one is also a homebrew one that we will share the PDF. And this exclusive scenario is kind of fun, where you have to hunt down some trolls, and each troll provides D3 vials of troll blood, and a certain amount of troll blood vials allows you to create a serum or a potion that allows you to recover one injury that you've gotten during the campaign. So this will be good to use on any of your heroes that have received an old battle wound or some sort of injury that you're not really happy with. Number six is going to be a smuggler campaign, a smuggler scenario, where each warband is actually going to have either two or three, we haven't decided yet, 2 or 3 Weirdstones on their heroes. And this is going to be from their own funds. So it's not like they start in addition to what they have. So this is some of their campaign Weirdstones. So at this point, there might be a clear victor to this campaign, but all of a sudden, each warband is going to be given an opportunity to steal Weirdstone from each other. So what ends up happening is there's going to be 15 Weirdstone on the board, because if each warband has 3 Weirdstone and there's 5 warbands, 15 Weirdstone can exchange hands during this campaign scenario, so it may change up the leaderboard really quickly. And then Mission 7 is going to be the final showdown, and we haven't quite decided what that's going to be, but it will be fun. So keep your eyes out for the closing scenario. And the last thing I want to go over is what to expect in these game videos. So there will be a quick introduction to the scenario. And then, of course, the big chunk is going to be the gameplay, which is us doing some silly role play, doing the scenario elements. There may be some NPCs on the board. We will be using the random happenings chart, so there'll be some fun little random things that happen, and some subplots that may either be included in the scenario or sometimes some subplots that we create ourselves. So most of the scenarios are going to have some extra treasure chests sitting on the battlefield, but sometimes we use these little subplot cards that we've created ourselves where you draw it from a stack and it may say something like climb to the topest building and sit there for 3 turns, which is kind of easy. And the reward is kind of cheap, but there might be something like kill the warband leader to the left, and then you get an extra weird stone. So there's all these different little fun subplot cards that we use that we have created ourselves. Of course, we will go over the victor who has won this scenario. We will then go over casualties and injuries, see which heroes and henchmen die and which ones survive but take injuries. We will also go ahead and do character advancements as their statistics or their skills can increase through the scenario. And then exploration and income, which is the big one because this will allow us to see who gets how many weirdstone. And then at the end, like I said, we will secretly sell how many we want and then reveal that. And then we'll go over the leaderboard again to see who has the most weirdstone, who has the most victory points in terms of scenarios, and who has what warband rating. So that's a quick introduction, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, any questions, please leave down below. Enjoy the campaign. Either revisit this video, or you can leave comments in the video that you're watching. But I just want some feedback on what you guys think about the campaign, what we could do to make it better, what's already really good. So, yeah. So, thanks for watching, and hopefully the first game comes out shortly.